So, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the ones which are on time. It's a pleasure for me to welcome you for the 5th Stakeholder General Assembly of the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Joint Undertaking. It's a rather important year which is going to take place in the coming months as we are entering discussions for the renewal of the joint undertaking under the new scheme which is proposed by the Commission, which is Horizon 2020. So this event is going to be really looking forward to that next position. It's going to set the state of the sector. I remind you that up to today, the sector, the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Joint Undertaking, has committed around, jointly with industry and research, around 650 million euros in 100 projects. There are 300 companies, institutes, which are benefiting from this program. 100 projects. We just selected yesterday the initiation of calls for another set of 27, which will set the commitment at 800 million euros. So, to set the tone, the context is rather complex this year because financially everybody knows that the situation is at risk. There is a risk of a double squeeze, both from the member states, which are under strong constraints, and also from the companies, which need to look very carefully at their investment and costs. So the need to secure long-term sanctuarized places for investment is critical. Energetically, we don't know exactly where we're going to head. The shale gas issues on the one side, the decisions on the evolution of the nuclear on the other side for other countries. Everything is rather shaky. The only thing that we know is that the share of renewable is going to increase, and the share and the need for intermittent management is going to increase as well, and I think that's a good news for the sector. On the mobility side, it's difficult to know whether the current startup of the electric drivetrains, its first steps, its successes and difficulties, how is it going to help the system? The only thing that we know is that at the Paris Motor Show, a couple of companies showed a couple of future cars based on fuel cell, which we believe is a good sign. Politically, I don't know who knows what's going to happen. It's usually said that when the crises are strong, bold political moves are moving, so maybe we could expect that the next pillars of Europe will be around energy and transport. I think for industry it should be a wish, because it would be a way to effectively give the industry the depth and the breadth of Europe in its development. This leads for me to the notions of names and places, and I would like to illustrate one thing. The progress of the technology is also looked at through the places it goes to. Electricity, natural gas, and now if we look at hydrogen, it started in refineries, it went to petrochemical sites, it's been a little bit in labs and pilots, and now we see it coming in the streets more and more. We see it even in the streets in France, you've got some cars. We see it in some planes, you have one in the middle, and you also see it coming in homes, since you have the possibility for some of you that are well connected with the sector to effectively buy some portable hydrogen storage solutions, which is a good sign that hydrogen is getting into our daily lives. In terms of places, we need also to mention that the stationary applications is also going to go into the homes with some very huge projects like the 900 stationary applications that are going to be put through the program into 900 places in Europe to demonstrate stationary users and join the move which has been initiated by Japan. Places also, because of course everybody has noticed that we are not anymore in Brussels. So why? We believe that we have come to a time where Europe needs to go back and sell what it has done to the member states, because we need to get member states' commitment, alignment, support to continue further. So now, of course, obviously, why France and why Paris? Well, you might guess. we think that France has done a lot for hydrogen but could do more, and we expect it to do more in the future. And France knows that Europe needs it strongly to effectively move into the next step of the deployment. Names now to hand over. We speak a lot about the need of innovation to be funded and to be a way to nurture the development of employment and jobs through SMEs. And it's true that that joint undertaking is one of the most powerful in that context, because 22% of the program beneficiaries are SMEs. But still, a sector is going further because it has a couple of key, very strong pillars, key actors, key large industrial players or large research organizations which are there to build upon. You've got in Europe some players like Daimler, which are driving the show on the mobility side. In Japan, you have Toyota, you have Nissan, you have Honda. I think in France, the two pillars, or the two giants which are trying to push the technology and make it happen are clearly on the one side, on the research side, CEA, and on the other side, Air Liquide. So it's a great pleasure and a great honor for us and for me to have with us today the chairman and CEO of CEA and Air Liquide, which are going to share with us, before we launch the traditional sessions, their views, ambitions, and wishes for the sector in the coming years. So thank you very much to join me in wishing all the best to the day, and to greet Mr. Bigot, which is going to start that day. Thank you.